questioned by many people. Here's the tail of the tape as we get ready for this fight against Hector Alatorre.
You'll see that Ortiz enjoys the slight physical advantages. He's 5 years younger. He's 2 inches taller. He has a slight reach advantage. California State Athletic Commission rules govern this bout. 3 knockdown rule is not in effect. There is no standing 8 count. A fighter can be saved by the bell, but only in the last round. The referee or the doctor can stop the fight. And should the fight be halted on an accidental foul, we'll go to the scorecards after 4 completed rounds.
All right, let's go back in the ring with ring announcer Joe Martinez.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, from Club Nokia LA Live here in Los Angeles, California, Golden Boy Promotions and AEG proudly present to you the main event of the evening. 10-round schedule in the welterweight division. Sanctioned by the California State Athletic Commission, Chairman John Frierson and Executive Officer George Dodd. Sponsored by DeWalt Power Tools, Guaranteed Tough, Budweiser, the Great American Lager, and AM/PM Too Much Good Stuff. The 3 judges scoring this bout at ringside on the 10-point must system are Raul Caiz, David Denkin, and Max DeLuca. And with the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, David Mendoza. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the judges are ready and the fighters are ready for the sold-out Club Nokia and those watching on Fox Sports Net, Los Angeles, California. Make some noise! Are you ready? Introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner. He wears blue, trimmed in white, and weighed in officially 143 pounds. His professional record, 16 victories with 8 defeats and 5 wins, coming by way of knockout, fighting out of Tulare, California. Here is El Corazón de León, Hector Alatorre. Next is a opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner. He wears blue, trimmed in silver, weighing in 143 3/4 pounds. His professional record is outstanding with 25 victories, just 2 defeats, 1 bout even, and 20 big wins coming by way of knockout. He is the number 3 ranked contender in the WBA, number 6 by the WBO, the pride of Ventura, California. Here is Vicious Victor.
Well, Victor Ortiz was truly at the verge of greatness. The stage was set. HBO wanted him. Big fights were in the horizon until Marcos Maidana interrupted all of that. Is Victor Ortiz restarting his career?
Well, you know, he started the rebuilding process almost immediately after suffering that loss. He says that had he not suffered a broken wrist in that fight, he would have been back in the gym maybe 1 week or 2 weeks after suffering that loss. He got back in the gym in December, and I thought he looked pretty sharp against a former junior welterweight contender, Antonio Diaz. He was a tough guy, the type of veteran that some people question his selection as an opponent. They thought that maybe Tono Diaz was a little bit too tough, put a little bit too much pressure, maybe cracked a little too hard with his right hand, but Ortiz took care of business and caused a stoppage at the end of 7 rounds.
And some would say that maybe they pushed him too fast, that maybe, you know, the people around him were too quick in his progress, but he's never blamed anyone. He's taken full responsibility for that decision. He made the wrong choice that night.
Right, he says that the crowd got to him, and that may well be the case. I think Maidana got to him. I thought, you know, he dropped Maidana and maybe got a little over anxious, got out of his game plan, which was to box and set up his power punches, and then he got dropped by a hard right hand, and it was a harder blow that he took. He hit that canvas very hard, and then I think, you know, his instinct sort of took over, and I don't think it helped him that he knocked Maidana down twice in the 2nd round, because then he really thought, okay, now I can really go for a KO. And the next thing you know, he's in a shootout, a thrilling slugfest. It was quite a show for the fans in the Staples Center, but it was the wrong kind of boxing match for Victor Ortiz. You see him right here. He doesn't have an imposing physical specimen in front of him with Hector Alatorre. He's not fighting Marcos Maidana or even a Tono Diaz. But you see, he's boxing carefully. He's working his jab. He's looking for his openings. And you know what? That is how Victor Ortiz fights.
So following all the criticism, what is more important, for him to win or to win back the fans?
You know, I think it's more important for him right now to win. The fans will get back on the bandwagon once he gets back on the big stage and beats a name opponent. I don't think it matters what he does to Hector Alatorre. If he knocks Hector Alatorre out in this round, people will say, oh, well, you were just fighting a chump, even though Alatorre has never been knocked out. If he goes 10 rounds with Hector Alatorre, people will say, oh, you went 10 rounds with Hector Alatorre, and you're supposed to be the next superstar. You're supposed to be the next Oscar de la Hoya. Doesn't matter what he does tonight. There's going to be skeptics out there.
Well, no one's ever stopped Alatorre, so...
But you know what? Hardcore fight fans, you know, the people who are watching on TV or watching on the internet, they don't really know who Alatorre is, you know.
That's why we're here to explain.
They see a guy with 8 losses. So I just think he wins fans back by winning this fight and winning the next fight and winning the next fight after that.
This is round 2. Obviously, power was a major factor in that loss against Maidana. So with Alatorre's 5 career knockouts, I don't think Ortiz needs to worry too much about getting hammered tonight.
No, he doesn't have to worry that much about Alatorre's power. But you see, he's still being cautious. He's still keeping his hands up. He's not trying to physically overwhelm a guy that just by looking at their body types, you would think that big, strong, imposing, athletic guy with power like Ortiz could do that if he so chose. But like I said in the first round, that's not his style. He is an economical counterpuncher, and he'll close the show once he has his fighter hurt and not before.
Pay attention to their feet. They've been stepping on each other's toes since the moment they started fighting. And at this point, I think it's just a matter of establishing who gets to place their foot on the outside. Right now, it's a challenge to see who is going to claim that important spot.
That's something that happens with southpaws when they fight orthodox fighters, and vice versa. Their lead feet sometimes get in each other's way, and you know, a crafty veteran can use that to his advantage. Step on top of that lead foot and even try to shove the other guy. Alatorre is a crafty fighter. He's not that kind of a crafty veteran. He's not that old, doesn't have that many fights. He had a lot of amateur bouts. He had 147 amateur fights, and he won 136 of them. In fact, one of those bouts was a close loss to Victor Ortiz 7.5 years ago.
Based on his conditioning, I'd like to know how much time he had to prepare. It didn't seem like he went out of his way to jog too much in the morning. And
well, that might be his body type. His legs don't look that chunky.
That's a nice left right there connected by Victor Ortiz. He lost another again at the top of the head. He is hurt. Alatorre is hurt.
Yeah, it landed high in the head and perhaps affected the equilibrium, at least momentarily, of Alatorre. But I think the body type of Alatorre also speaks to the fact that I think he's just a naturally smaller guy, and his weight class is probably 135 pounds, not 140 pounds. And both guys weigh in the 143-pound range. This is technically a welterweight fight, which Victor can carry. Alatorre does not look very svelte at welterweight.
And right there, Alatorre mentioning to the ref to be vigilant about the feet. They keep tripping on the feet. They keep stepping on each other's toes. And Alatorre has had some pretty good opposition. He fought against Mike Anchondo, Carlos Famoso Hernandez.
Victor Ortiz looking very sharp so far. He landed a straight left that wobbled Alatorre at the beginning of the second round.
Alatorre giving us some pretty good sound bites during the course of the week. Press conference and other opportunities that we've had to talk to him. He says that people see him as a ladder, but he says some ladders don't go up, they go down, and sometimes they're slippery.
He's a character.
He certainly is.
And you saw when he got wobbled, he made sure to acknowledge it and let Ortiz know that, hey, you know, you can go for it if you want, but I'm okay, and don't think that I'm discouraged by that. That's his attitude. He's defiant, I would say.
And he's pretty much aware that